In a new op-ed, Hill opinion contributor Merrick von Rennenkampf noted that in May, NASA's UAP study team held its first public meeting, and according to the director of the Pentagon's UFO office, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the most common observations of the UAPs are of spheres, 3 by 13 feet in size and white, silver, or translucent in color. This was out of the 800 reports received by his office by late May.
On what these objects could be, the jury's still out, but journalist Raj Coulthart, who interviewed UFO whistleblower David Grush, said they could be future humans. Shout out to Twitter/X user Neoliberal Tears for resurfacing this clip from the Theories of Everything, Consciousness, Free Will, and God podcast. Let's watch.
I've been exploring in recent months is more complex, and I've already spoken about this to some extent, so I will say it involves the notion of future human time travel. And look, it's only hypothetical. I'm not saying it's real. But if what I'm being told about that is true, then yeah, I would be somber too.
Why is that somber? Why is the fact or the potential that it might be humans in the future terrifying?
Because of what it, well, I think I wouldn't be giving too much away if I said that. You think about it. Why, since 1947, has there been a phenomenon taking an interest in the human race, particularly in nuclear weapons? Why is something or someone apparently trying to send us a message about nuclear weapons? Why is it that nuclear weapons are being shut down by what slide 9 refers to as remote sensor disassembly? What's it trying to say? What's coming? Imagine if, and I'm only speaking hypothetically here, imagine if future humans knew that if we continue on the path we're going, there's going to be a nuclear war or a conflagration at some time.
All right, let's call this the Terminator theory. Someone's coming back from the future to keep us from destroying ourselves. What do you make of this?
I operate under the time travel rules that you can't actually change anything by going into the past. You'll just cause whatever you were trying to prevent. These are the rules of time travel. So this is not Back to the Future rules where you can change things and like the photograph starts to melt in front of you as you change things, which doesn't make any sense. But these are lost time travel rules where they go back in time on the island, but it turns out all the things that happened over the course of the island's history they were just involved with them and they'd happened that way. And that's the way you do time travel.
Okay, well, many other people believe that when you change time, you create multiple alternative timelines.
It's like the Avengers.
Could make this a legitimate theory if this is where we're going right now.
Maybe we're in a branch timeline. Something did go wrong to create the timeline we're living in. We're in the darkest timeline from Community.
But yeah,
yes.
Let's call it the X timeline.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. So look.
So actually,
here's what I like about it.
Go for it.
I do like, because people keep asking the question, you've been one of these people, you know, why do we see all the UFOs in the United States?
What do you mean,
why are they
people?
all in the, you doubters, you unbelievers. Why do they all appear in the Southwest, yada, yada, yada. I like the explanation that there's some link to our nuclear development. I did see Oppenheimer yesterday over the weekend. I am in like an A-bomb sort of a mindset. So I like that it offers some explanation for the frequency of sightings in that region of the world. And so it's a narrative that I think makes a nice little bit of sense. Of course, there's no proof of the aliens existing in the first place.
Whales coming back in time to have us do more nuclear to save them from the wind turbines.
Well, that is literally the plot of Star Trek 4. In Star Trek 4, Return of Spock, they're in the Star Trek future with Captain Kirk and all of them, and an alien ship comes to Earth, and for the first time in like thousands of years. And the last time they came to Earth, it was no humans, it was just whales. And so when they start trying to communicate and all the whales are extinct, they go to like blow up the planet. And so to prevent it from doing that, they have to go back in time to like the 1980s. And Captain Kirk links up with the mom from Seventh Heaven, who is a oceanographer or whatever, and they save the whales. They have to bring like 2 humpback whales back to the future.
Actually, you're right. Star Trek is another example of doing because the new movies follow because Spock goes back in time and creates a branch timeline.
Yes.
That it was well done.
And within Star Trek also, a lot in Star Trek Enterprise, I believe they had a whole alien species that was all about the time wars, and that was seen as a huge threat because obviously, I mean, there's one thing to kill someone, blow up a civilization. It's another thing to erase them from existence because you're fighting through time.
What Coldheart was talking about there made me think of, there's a short story I love, science fiction short story by Isaac Asimov called The Last Question. And in this story, it chronicles first the invention of an infinite energy device, so that all the energy is, it's based on solar power or something, power from the stars. And they say, well, it's not actually infinite because eventually the stars will die out and then we'll have no more power. And they have a supercomputer, and they ask this supercomputer, how can we devise a device that would reverse entropy, that will make the stars come back on in the billions of years this is going to take to happen. And the supercomputer says, I will ponder this question. And then it jumps forward centuries in time, and like now we're a spacefaring civilization. But this question still has not been answered. And so the new team of researchers asked the computer this question. And it goes on and on and on like that until people have merged with machines, and the stars are going out and the universe is dying. And the last human being asked this same computer, how do we fix this? And the computer says, I still haven't figured. The computer now exists like in an alternate, in like another, not on our same plane of existence. And then the story ends with the computer, once all life is extinct because the stars have all gone out, and the computer is still contemplating it, and then the computer figures it out and says, I can turn the stars back on, and then you get the Big Bang, and then life begins. So the idea being that our conception of the divine or the origin of the universe would be the advanced technological speed of the previous inhabitants.
Yeah, okay, all right. So in terms of like creative fiction, I'm into all of this.
Spoilers, if you've never seen that, yeah.
However, I think the real question that we're all dancing around is, do we think this is the kind of outlandish theory that diminishes the credibility of someone like Coulthard and the journalism that has come out of him about some of this other UFO stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something, viewers and readers are going to have to decide for themselves. I mean, I wonder if, clearly the investigations into UAPs, what the government knows, what they don't, were clearly picking up a lot of steam over these last few weeks. And I do wonder, you can have whatever opinion you want about Ken Klippenstein's reporting on David Grush, but I do wonder if if that revelations about him will impact this hunt for the truth by calling into question the things he said. I'm not saying I'm calling them into question or any more than I was calling them into question in the first place.
Sure.
But that might be the reality of it.
And the new news that we read at the top, that there's a kind of a consensus emerging about what these unidentified flying objects actually look like. The fact of them being spherical, I think it's at 3 to 15 feet in width. That size struck me. 3 feet is not a very big craft. So is the implication that these are probes of some kind, or is the implication that these are very small beings? And if they are us from the future, why are we so wee? Why are we so small?
I mean, we'd be sending, little robots or something. They gotta be little robots. I mean, it's consistent with, I've described the Lonnie Zamora UFO sighting from decades ago, and that's consistent. That's exactly what he described, was a craft of, I think, about that size. Certainly that color or translucent nature, and then, small people from a distance getting out of it, very small.
Little green men indeed. All right.
We got to be eating what makes you tall? Eating your veggies?
We're doing the opposite. Well, historically, isn't it a thing that one of the, is it the Mayans or the Aztecs, apparently, because they weren't doing rotating crop farming and they were growing a lot of corn, they had very diminishing minerals in their diet, and that was part of what led to the dying of those civilizations and widespread malnutrition. So maybe that's a warning call. They don't have to come back and warn us about nuclear energy. They have to warn us about sustainable farming so we don't get so tiny.
It's plausible as anything else. More Rising right after this.